Yo, what is up, my disciples? It's Mega, aka the Art Messiah, here to save you from your art sins. Welcome back to another video. Today we're taking on the infamous Ethan Becker. He's an artist on YouTube that's been walking around like he's the big dog. He's been calling us little babies. He's been saying we've been playing with Polly Pockets. But today, I'm taking a stand. I'm putting on my big boy pants and I'm stepping into the ring. Let's crush this style challenge and show him that the underdogs never give up. So anyways, for those of you that don't know Ethan Becker, he is a YouTube artist. He's actually quite fantastic at what he does. He's an animator. He's done a lot of animations for various shows. So go check out his YouTube channel. But today we're going to take on his challenge that he posted because I think it's a very important activity to continue to improve on and to continue to do. So what is this challenge? It's basically studying the style of your 4 favorite artists. So you find, 4 artists that you really admire. You break down how they render their characters, their backgrounds, and you study the techniques that they use. So for me personally, this is a very important activity to do every once in a while as an artist. Maybe not every day, but every couple weeks. Sit down and really reevaluate your style and why it is that you're making the choices that you're making. So to me, I used to make the mistake of thinking that studying was copying, and that if I was copying an artist, I wasn't really going to learn anything, and that was a bad thing. Now it's kind of flipping it, and if you've seen my video that's how to learn to draw faster, I kind of go by this idea and concept that you need to study first, you need to steal, and then you need to stylize. And doing those 3 steps basically incorporates new techniques into your tool set for you to use. So you can almost think about it this way. You can't really implement something, or you can't really learn something, right, if you don't actually observe it. And so basically you have to give yourself that information and that technique and that skill to see if you want to utilize it. So don't think of copying as stealing, but think of it as gathering information that you can use and stylize to your own effect, and pretty much to make your own style out of it. So that's why I think this is really important. So I went ahead and did this style challenge myself, because I am always thinking about new techniques and new tools that I can use and kind of bring to the table. So the first artist that I chose was CT Chrysler. You can find him on Instagram at CT Chrysler. He's a fantastic artist. I really like how he blends simplicity with realism, and the tones that he uses are very colorful and very bright and very expressive. So I used him as my first style study, and I'm just going to go through and kind of explain character by character what I'm looking for when I'm doing these style studies. So the main thing is the rendering techniques. Okay, so I'm focusing in on how does the line work look, and then the second thing I'm going into is how is the coloring done, what kind of values and hues are being used. So for example, kind of come in here, I lay down a skin tone, and then what I would do is I would go to the artist that I'm studying, and I would use the eye picker, and I would pick the color of the base tone, right? And then I would get the shadow, and then I would get the highlights, and I would compare within that eye picker. I would go into that color and I would see, okay, how is it being shifted in terms of the temperature, right? So I noticed that in shadows it was going very cool. So say if the face was very warm, when you get to the shadow, you would use a lot cooler colors, so you would shift towards your blue hues, right? So I noticed that that artist did that. So those were the types of things that I was looking for. In this next piece, this is from Tony Infante. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he's also on Instagram. You can follow him at Tony Infante. And I really like how he used his line work and how his characters really pop because of how dynamic and how loose the brushwork look. So that's what I was really focusing in on for this artist. So I noticed that he didn't use a lot of soft brushes. I noticed that there was a lot of hard edges, and I think that kind of adds to the sense of action and movement and looseness. When you have these hard edges, they're easy to read. They add a sense of sharpness and a sense of confidence to where you're placing your shadows, where you're placing your highlights. And so I really like that about his style. That's what I really tried to focus on getting right. And so as you can see, as I'm placing in the highlights and the shadows, I'm trying to make use of hard lines to represent all these different areas and really block them out as shapes, rather than just thinking, well, I know the lighting's like this, so I know the shadow's gonna go here. It's like, yeah, I know that, but I want to try to make an interesting shape with the shadows. I want to make an interesting shape with the highlights. So that's what I focused on there. The last artist that I looked at, her name is Barbie, and again, you can find her on Instagram. I will include all the links in the description if any of these artists look interesting and you want to follow them. For this one, I really liked how bold and expressive it was, and I liked how she combined these sharp edges with also these very soft brushes that were giving gradients. So you had these hard edges and you also had these gradients, which gave it a very bold but smooth effect as well. So it's a very kind of interesting style here. The things that I noticed was that the surrounding edges of the face, she used very bold line work. When it came to painting the face, she used very interesting color choices, which I kind of liked. She used a lot of purples and a lot of pinks, and instead of staying within one color, she kind of bounced around several hues of purples and pinks, and I thought that was really interesting and unique. So definitely going to be taking and learning some things about using hard edges to really get that clarity in your drawing and to really improve your design and your aesthetics for your drawing. So I really like that about studying this piece. So I'm going to go in here and just kind of finish up with the hair, adding in some shadows, adding in some highlights here and there. But this was a really great practice, and I really encourage you guys to join in on this challenge. Take your favorite artist and study what makes their artwork work. Don't just copy it. See why they do certain things here and there. See why the line control works, or the edge control, or why they're using soft, or why they're using hard lines, and try to come up with their own reasonings and explanations for it. But anyways, that's all I have for this video. Is just that start to get out there, start to study other artists, and not just copy, but always ask questions of why. Why do they implement this here and not there? And come up with their own theories, because when you come up with your own theories and your own ideas, that's what's going to develop your own style. So again, don't copy, but study. So study, steal, stylize. Hopefully that helps you guys kind of get into the practice of doing this, and also just get rid of this idea that I can't sit down and I can't mimic someone's artwork. You can, and you should, because that's going to help you develop an entire range of techniques and tools at your fingertips that you will be able to use in your very own style. So hopefully that helps. Until next time, peace and love, and deuces.